Hello, and welcome to We Live for Saturday, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike. With me, as always, is your other co-host, John. But, John, we have a very special guest today.
Yes, we do.
We have Emily from Big Ten Talk with Emily on here to talk all things Big Ten. So welcome to the show, Emily. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, it's cooled down here, so it's starting to feel a little bit more like fall today. So
yeah, you say that, but it's going to be 80 in like 2 days.
Don't say it. Don't put it out there. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're wrong.
No, the meteorologists are wrong this close. Like 2 weeks out, I'm like, the meteorologist might be wrong. 2 days out, nah, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Unless it's in the winter and they're trying to guess how much snow is going to fall, because they're usually wrong about that.
Or if it's going to snow at all sometimes. They're often wrong about precipitation. Let's just put it that way. But yes, temperatures, you're probably right. So.
Yeah, there was a long time, I won't say his name, but there was a long time weatherman, meteorologist in Fargo who was known for passing out at the bar every night.
I know who it is.
Yeah, and I always thought that, hey, it's kind of a low-stakes job. You can get away with that.
Yeah.
Like, you can be wrong. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what we're doing. It's okay for us to be wrong. It's not as good for the coaches of these teams to be wrong.
True.
They pay the price for that, and we saw that last week, for sure. So, John, anything interesting in your neck of the woods before we jump right into the previewing these games?
No, I mean, look, nothing that not that our listeners want to hear about, but I'd like to know a little bit more about Emily and just tell us about your fandom and how you got into Big Ten football and doing what you do. Yeah, tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the segment's relatively new, and it's just kind of embracing and celebrating everything Big Ten. It's a lot of fun because I get to hop on with amazing fans and people who cover these teams and talk to them about it. And I have always been a huge believer that like the fans and people involved and how they are able to connect over a sports team or over a game is one of the things that makes sports beautiful in general. So it's been a lot of fun. And I, for one, am super happy to be in the Big Ten now and to get to talk to all of these opposing fan bases and get to see these like really cool games that we otherwise wouldn't have seen unless it happened to, work out in the postseason. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
And in case you're audio only, there's a duck behind Emily. Emily is an Oregon fan.
Yes, I am. I am an Oregon fan. Yep.
And all I can say is that we won the 2003 Sun Bowl. Yeah, I still remember. Walk-off field goal. I'm saying that now because we're not going to beat you this year. But we got you that time, and I remember it.
Yes. Yeah. I do. I do remember that. But yes, I have been an Oregon fan. I was raised an Oregon fan. So it's been a long time. Yeah. And lots of ups and downs. But right now we're having a good time.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yep.
The Phil Knight money gun is getting you lots of players, and it's beautiful. Must be a beautiful thing to watch.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to be on this path of like where the program's going compared to where it was just even a few years ago.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it interesting to you? Do you enjoy learning a lot of the stuff like the history and the tradition and whatever in the new conference that you're in now? And obviously there's a ton that I mean the Pac-12 was a very, very old conference in itself. And so I is it fun learning new things about the Big Ten? And what do you miss, I guess, the most about your old conference?
I think it's really fun. I mean, I love learning about, I knew a lot of the rivalries, but I love learning about like how the fans even talk to each other and, just like these stories that I wouldn't have otherwise heard if I wasn't in the conference. And then to be able to have the experience of like watching Oregon play at these pretty historic sites. Like last year they went to Michigan, which is obviously a classic college football setting. Obviously this week they're going to experience a whiteout game in Happy Valley. So I think it's really fun and exciting. And, I can say that because Oregon's done obviously pretty well in the Big Ten so far. I'm sure if Oregon entered and they weren't doing as well, I'd be like, this sucks. But right now it's a really good time. And what I miss about the Pac-12, that's interesting. I haven't actually really thought about it. I think I have moments that hit me where I'm like, oh yeah, like we don't play Stanford. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, I have a lot of bad memories with Stanford. So it's kind of just like, oh yeah, like that's not on the schedule this year, like it always was. So it's not necessarily an act of like missing these moments, but it's still like something that I'm getting used to of like,
Sure.
yeah, that there's no Cal, there's no Stanford, there's no Washington State, who kind of like, came behind us a few times and was not fun to play. So yeah, it's just like those moments where I'm like, yep, everyone's kind of just dispersed and it's different, but
Sure.
it's exciting and fun.
It's the whole new world. It's mostly fun. I feel a little bad for Oregon State and Wazoo.
Yeah,
A little bad for them.
I feel a little bad, but the next few years they have the capability and they have the opportunity to, obviously build up their conference, and hopefully that program gets on the right track and they're able to kind of bounce back a little bit from this. Both programs, Washington State and Oregon State.
Yeah, I hope so.
If people listen to the pod, I went and saw the Gophers play in Corvallis, and they love their football. They do. Yeah. So it'd be nice to see them bounce back a little bit so they could maybe make the Civil War a little more interesting with you. Oh, wait, I said it. We're not supposed to call it the Civil War anymore. I forgot.
Everyone, it slips for everyone. I don't even know what we're supposed to be calling it right now, honestly. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Was it the the Cascade Clash is something else, right?
No, that's something else.
I thought we were calling it the Platypus Bowl for a while.
Platypus Cup?
I'm not sure if that ever stuck or if anyone actually calls it that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I've heard people call it the Platypus Cup. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm excited for Oregon fans to finally experience what a whiteout game is like, because it's terrifying.
Yeah, we will get to that. That's the last game we'll talk about, and we'll go in depth. Because John and I have both been to whiteouts in the past. Emily, have you ever been to a whiteout?
I have not been to a whiteout.
Oh, we'll get into talking to you about it. It's different. It's a whole different vibe.
Yep.
Right on. All right. Well, thanks for telling us, about yourself, and everyone out there. Please go subscribe, follow Emily. You can find, it's under Big Ten Talk with Emily. And then what is your Twitter handle again?
It's Emily E. Taylor 23.
Okay. And I will have when we put this episode up, I will have Emily's podcast and also Twitter linked in the description, so you can go check it out yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, cool. Of course. All right. Should we get into these games?
Let's do it.
This is the biggest week of the year so far.
I know.
There's no question about it. This Penn State Oregon game could feed families across the country with how interested everybody is. But we'll get to that last because it's the night game. First up, we have the 4-0, number 21 USC Trojans going to play the 3-1, number 23 ranked Illinois Illini. This is an 11 a.m. game on Fox. It's big noon kickoff, but Emily, on this podcast, we go by God's time. That's Central Time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
And the line is USC by 6.5. Look, Jaden Mayava looks like a Heisman contender. And John and I both have to eat crow. We're going to eat it again. We're going to be eating it all season because we didn't see it last year.
Yeah.
He threw lots of picks. He threw lots of YOLO balls up for grabs. He threw back-to-back interceptions against Notre Dame. That's all gone now. It's all over. He's a different guy. He is completing over 70% of his passes, 9 TDs, 0 interceptions, and just 2 sacks that he's taken. That's incredible. I mean, he's a totally different guy wearing the same number. It's nuts. So you got to give USC credit for that. USC is significantly better than I thought they were going to be. The defense looks, salty, and the offensive, obviously their receivers are as good as it gets outside of, Ohio State probably. And then you got Illinois on the flip side. Their line of scrimmage players got embarrassed against Indiana, John. We talked about it, but I expected Indiana to have better skill players, but I expected Illinois to have better trench players, and they did not. They got pushed around on both sides of the ball. It's just weird watching a Brett Bielema team get bullied to that extent by anybody. Like, that is not – that Brett Bielema plays FU Big Ten football, and to watch him get so physically outmatched was weird. So how does Illinois bounce back? Emily, what are your thoughts on this game, either side of it?
So I agree with USC's offense. They have quite an electric offense right now if you watch them these last few weeks, which it pains me to say because next to UW, I always love watching USC lose. So the fact that they are better this year is kind of a bummer for me and my general narrative as a college football fan. But I do give their quarterback credit. He has looked really good. And their offense is just a lot of fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see how their defense matches up against these Big Ten teams now that we're in Big Ten play. But Illinois got totally embarrassed this last Saturday, like a murderous performance by Indiana. And I can play the game of like, okay, Illinois, maybe they're a bit overrated, or maybe they were rated, or maybe they were ranked where they shouldn't have been based on their skill. But at the same time, I thought they'd kind of put up more of a fight. I thought it would be a closer game. So I'm giving the edge to USC in this game, but I think we will learn a lot from USC in this game as well.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. John, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
No, I agree. I think we're going to learn a lot from USC. I do expect Illinois. I expect Brett Bielema to have this team come out ready. Not to
he
say
has to. He has to.
Absolutely. I still am absolutely going to pick USC to win this game. I think they just have too much firepower. I do think Illinois' defense is better than what we saw. I don't know what was going on last week. I think it has the potential, I should say. Maybe not that it is, to be better.
Yeah.
But it's also that offense, man. I mean, they got to get that running game going. And if they can't run the ball, like it's game over, man. They're like, you can't. I mean, look, I like Luke Altmaier. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a good Big Ten quarterback. He's proven that time and time again now.
Yes.
But are we going to see that run game being established? Are we going to see that line of scrimmage shore up? And are we going to be able to stop them through the air? They have a veteran secondary. Like, they have a veteran defense. But against,
and to be fair, they were down a couple D-backs against Indiana.
They were, yeah.
So hopefully those guys will come back and play. Hopefully we get Xavier Scott back, and I forget the other one who got banged up right away in like the first quarter. Yeah, but they were playing without two starters in the secondary. That said, you shouldn't lose 63-10.
No, exactly.
Ever against anybody.
Right. And you're going to run into the same kind of issue. It's essentially a very similar offense. It's
a very similar offense, except for USC's receivers. I'm not going to say they're better than Indiana's receivers because Indiana's receivers are amazing, but Mekhi Lemon is probably faster than anybody.
Yeah.
Than any of their receivers. Mm-hmm. They make amazing plays. I want to pick Illinois here. I do think this is a circle the wagons game for Bielema. I think he gets them all everyone together, gets them back on the same page. I think they play a lot better. I think they show more up front. They can't get dominated up front like they did. I just can't. Mm-hmm. I can't see a Brett Bielema team getting pushed around up front 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen that. Right. So I think they bounce back and play better, but I don't know if they have enough juice to beat USC with the way they're playing.
Exactly.
I think it's high scoring. I don't think there's going to be a ton of defense played in this game. I think it's something like 31-27 SC.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, John? Do you have a score pick?
Yeah, I think it's going to be higher. I think USC 38, Illinois 24.
Okay.
I think that it'll look close, maybe halfway through the third quarter. But then USC's passing offense is just going to take over, and also the fact that USC can run the ball this year. They can.
Yes.
Now.
And they're willing to. They're more willing to. They ran the ball 40 times last week.
Exactly. So Lincoln Riley has changed his best, and he is willing to run the ball when it needs to happen and have a balanced offense. And that's what Illinois doesn't have that right now. They don't have a running game. That scares me. So I just think USC is going to run away with it. I think they'll keep it close for a little while, but then it'll be curtains for Illinois.
Emily, do you have a score pick?
I do agree that it's going to be a high scoring game. I could see like USC maybe scoring like 45-30, maybe 34, 30. Yeah, but maybe 33, kind of like around that ballpark, but it's going to be high scoring. I just don't totally trust these defenses quite yet to keep it on the lower side. Yeah. And like I said, USC's offense is just really explosive and electric right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're terrifying. It's annoying because their fan base on Twitter is ridiculous, but good for them. Give them their flowers. Absolutely. All right. Moving right along. Next up, we have the 3-1 Rutgers Scarlet Knights going to Dinkytown to play the 2-1 Minnesota Golden Gophers. This is an 11 a.m. game on the Big Ten Network. The line is Minnesota by 5.5. Look, Ethan Kaliakmanis for Rutgers. He's been really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's thrown for over 1,000 yards, is completing 69% of his passes, which remember, coming into this year, Ethan was a 54% lifetime passer. So to go from 54 to 69 is, I know it's out of conference. Competition will get harder. That percentage will probably come down a little bit. But even if he ends up at like 65 this year, that is a massive improvement from what he ever used to be.
Yep.
We've seen him. He can finally put touch on the ball. It took him 4 years of thinking he could throw everything on a frozen rope. But finally, Kirk Soraka knocked it through his head. Hey, man, maybe throw the ball so the receivers can catch it and not just stick their fingers out and be like, oh, I dislocated my fingers because Ethan threw a million miles an hour at me when I was wide open and he didn't have to.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was it. Was it Brett Favre who his receivers would always like you see their fingers and they were all busted from being dislocated from catching the ball?
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Brett Favre, who sucks at life, but was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
That said, the running game has been just okay, not great for Rutgers. It hasn't been an amazing running game. And the defense, well, it's a Rob Smith defense, John. And what do we know about Rob Smith defenses? They give up a lot of points.
Yes,
and they gave up 31 offensive. I know they had 38, but it was on the kick return, the 7. 31 offensive points to Iowa last week. So that does not bode well. On the flip side, Gophers continue to have issues in games where Darius Taylor doesn't play. When Darius Taylor plays, Minnesota wins. When Darius Taylor doesn't play, Minnesota doesn't. Also, the Gophers had Kerry Brown banged up against Rutgers early, and superstar sophomore Coy Parrish had what I'm calling an ego attack against Cal, in which he thought he could make every play every time, and he didn't realize that you kind of got to let it come to you a little bit and like just do your job. That's the thing in football. You got 11 guys in the field on your team. You all got to do your job and not try to do too much. So Minnesota had a really disappointing, late night West Coast performance. That said, a lot of teams go out west and don't look so good in the time change, especially if you have to play, especially like late at night like we did. So I'm not getting as down. There are a lot of, just so you know out there, people, there are a lot of Gopher fans who are really doom and gloomers. John and I call it the Minnesota disease. It goes way past football. It's like these people are scared to succeed in life and lower their expectations all the time. And they think it's weird if you're ambitious, and that bleeds into their football fandom. And that just is not kind of my vibe. I'm a little more optimistic and like realistic, I think, myself about where we're at. So I know the season's not over. I think the Gophers can play a lot better. I think it comes down to Minnesota creating more explosive plays on offense. Minnesota is efficient, but not explosive offensively. I want to see them break some deep ones on the ground and through the air. And of course, that means the wide receivers need to actually catch the ball, which has not always happened so far this year. Emily, what are your thoughts on this game?
I do agree with you about the explosive plays, but I don't know. Despite Rutgers actually playing better than I thought they would this season so far, I do think Minnesota wins this game. I think being at home is super fun and super helpful as well. But kind of like what you were saying, the time change last week going on the West Coast can make things a little iffy. And just, it's kind of like Cal is famous for that, being like one of those trap games a little bit. I think Minnesota is a way better team than what we saw. And I think they have the capability to take down Rutgers and score, like I would say, probably like 38 points on Rutgers. I just have high hopes. I'm not saying that just because it's your guys' show either. I promise.
I mean, if Iowa can manage 31 points offensively against Rutgers, I feel like we should.
Why
and
not?
You know exactly what to say. You know how to make us happy and shut us up. So we appreciate that too.
I'm just saying, like, if Iowa can do it, I think you guys can do it and then some.
Yeah. And John, we'll be at that game. So
we will be.
What are your thoughts?
No, I'm with you. Look, I do think that, it's going to take our secondary to really show up. And I think it's going to take Danny Collins having a better game plan.
He's got to blitz more.
He's got to blitz more.
He's got to blitz more. We don't have, Minnesota does not have it. Maybe Jackson Howard turns into it.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe some guys turn into it. But right now, Minnesota does not have like a pass rusher who terrifies you.
Yeah.
On the defensive line.
We don't have a
You don't
Joyner
have
right
those
now,
things.
or,
You got to blitz.
Yeah.
And as good as our DBs are, I think they're pretty good. I think you can get away with blitzing a lot and playing, manning up on the back end when you have to.
Well, I just think, as we know, it's proven that if you can get Ethan shaken up a little bit, he's less accurate. And that's when I think our DBs can capitalize. I think that we do have the ability and the speed to get to him. I think their offensive line is okay, but I don't think it's anyone that we should be, struggling too much against as far as the pass rush goes.
Now they can't really run the ball that well.
And there's that as well. I think, we're going to obviously, my assumption is we're going to make Ethan throw the ball. We will take away the run and we will make Ethan throw the ball. And I trust our DBs. I think we're going to bounce back. For me, on the offensive side of the ball, of course, it's our receivers coming down with it. Drake is putting it where it needs to be. It's not him. It's not his fault. It's the receivers coming down with it. If we can find one or two guys that can at least be reliable more than Lemecki Brockington like it was last week, I think we'll be good. Even if it's, throw it more to Gears or whatever, or get it to your running backs, like whatever you got to do to incorporate that. And I also just want to see.
I want to see more Javon Tracy and Logan Loya too.
I do too. That's who I would prefer.
And Jalen Smith, if he can cure the dropsies, because that guy has more ability than any receiver on our team. But he's just got to catch the ball when it's thrown to him. And he's a freshman. I think it'll come. But so far he's had too many drops, and he'll learn.
Yeah, and I think look, the main thing is for me, the deciding factor is the fact that one team has Rob Smith as their defensive coordinator and one does not.
Yeah,
and I'm not even trying to throw shade. This is real. Like, we experienced it as Gopher fans firsthand what it is to have him as a defensive coordinator. And
your team plays slow.
Well,
your players look slow because they're thinking too much.
Yeah.
Because he gives them these NFL-sized playbooks and speaks 1,000 miles a minute and expects you to understand. Okay, Rob, well, we're not working with Rhodes Scholars all the time here. You might need to break things down into parts and make it digestible. And he just doesn't seem capable of doing that. Well,
even a fan in our group chat, who is a Rutgers fan, said that Rob Smith is a domestic terrorist, and we were like, yeah, we get it, like, absolutely,
right?
You have an amazing offense, but it means nothing because your defense can't stop anybody. So
my goal is that we get him fired this week. That's my goal. That's my goal. We fired him midseason after he couldn't stop a cold. I think there's no reason why Shianu won't look over at some point and be like, maybe the co-DC can call plays now. Maybe Rob can step back and not be in charge of the game plan anymore.
Well, for this game, I think Rutgers is going to score. That offense, that passing game.
We're not stopping Ian Strong. No. We're not stopping him. We can slow him down, I hope, but we're not stopping him.
Exactly. So I see this Minnesota. I actually see Minnesota 38, and I see Rutgers at 30.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the Gophers 41, Rutgers 34. Okay. I think it's going to look bad at half. Actually.
Yeah.
I think at halftime we're going to be stressed, and it's going to be a thing. And then in the second half, we're going to give up a bunch of, I think it's going to be like the Iowa game where we get torched a little bit in the first half, then make some adjustments, start blitzing more. Hopefully Danny Collins knows to blitz right away. Yes. That's the hope. But if he doesn't, then you give Ethan time. He'll carve you up.
Yep.
He will. He's good enough to do that now in that offense. So that's what worries me. I haven't heard anything bad about Kerry Brown, so hopefully he'll be back.
I think he's supposed to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. The rumor is that Coy Parrish understands that he needs to show up now. Because if you look at the Pro Football Focus grades, he just has not played as well this year as he played last year. And if Minnesota's going to get where they want to go, they need Coy Parrish to play like Coy Parrish.
Yeah. Well, and we are more than likely, obviously, maybe I could be proven wrong here, but the people who are very much connected to the inside workings of Gopher football have predicted that Darius Taylor will not be playing in this game. So
yeah, that's why I have it as a 1-score game. If Darius is playing, I think Minnesota wins by 2+ scores.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have an answer for him. But without Darius Taylor, Minnesota's going to prove they can win games without Darius.
Yep.
Just like we had to prove we could win games without Mo.
Yep.
We got there, but Minnesota has to prove they can do that because it does sound like Darius isn't going to be back, until Purdue. Because PJ's not going to put him in against Ohio State just to get killed. He's not going to do that. So if he doesn't play this weekend, then he's going to skip the Ohio State game, and we're going to see him for homecoming against Purdue. So I hope Darius plays, but yeah, I'm not planning on it. It's going to be a big game for Femi Ijiboy and Cam Davis, man.
Yep.
Those guys need to show up at running back. They need to make some plays. They need to prove they can catch the ball out of the backfield. They need to do those things that Darius did for the offense. Not one or the other of them, but together they have to be able to do that for sure.
Cool.
All right. So we're either going to be really happy after that game, John, or really upset. So that's always exciting. Next up, we have the 3-0, number 1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes going to Seattle, take on the 3-0 Washington Huskies. This is a 2:30 p.m. game on CBS Network. Cue the horns. Spread is Ohio State by 9.5, but it started at 14.5.
Yeah.
So everyone's betting on Washington to keep this close.
Yeah.
All the money's coming in on Washington, which surprises me. Because, like, I love Damon Williams, man. I love Damon Williams. I think he's a problem. He can throw the ball. He can run it. He's really accurate. He makes good decisions. He runs that offense. He's a pain. Jonah Coleman is fantastic, is a fantastic upper tier Big Ten running back. Denzel, Boston, phenomenal wide receiver. But, like, have you seen that Matt Patricia defense this year?
Yeah.
Right.
Ohio State, people can't do anything. People can't get first downs against the Buckeyes, let alone, like, move the ball. So I don't know. I think 14.5 was closer to what the score as a spread is closer to what the score is gonna be, because I don't know how you stop all those Ohio State weapons. I don't know what you do about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Max Clare and now with the emergence Bo Jackson. Do you think? Here's my first question before we talk about who you think is going to win the game. Do you think Bo Jackson is the starter at running back now for Ohio State?
He better be,
right?
Yeah.
Bo knows.
Yeah.
Bo knows.
Absolutely. Good callback. Yeah, no, I think he's got to be the starter. I think that makes a difference. This comes down to, can Washington protect Damon Williams at all? Because if they can't, it's going to be a long day. It doesn't matter how fast he is. If they can, if he can get a little time in the pocket, if he can scramble when it's not, if he can throw it downfield when it is there and scramble when it's not there, Washington could make this a game. But as good as Washington is at the skill positions, I don't trust them on the line of scrimmage yet. I don't think they had big problems. They got pushed around in Big Ten play last year up front. I know they improved some, but I don't think they improved to an Ohio State level or close to it.
Well, they even had some issues against Wazoo last week on the line of scrimmage. I mean, thankfully, Damon Williams can, create something out of nothing all the time. But
that game was close.
It was for
31-24 into the second half.
Yeah, and the pocket was closing in on him far too often against a team like Washington State.
Yeah, for sure. Emily, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I obviously want Ohio State to win.
Of course.
I would go as far as saying that I need Ohio State to win, but that seems a little much.
I get it.
Yeah, it's just, it can't happen. This can't be an upset whatsoever. I don't know what the ending statistics were, but I know Damon Williams got sacked at least 3 times in the game last week against Wazoo, which, like you guys said, it was close up until the fourth quarter. It was a close game. I watched up until the fourth quarter. And so I saw Wazoo hanging on way more than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Had no idea that they were capable of scoring 24 on Washington. I thought they were going to maybe get 10. So I thought that was impressive, and I was pleasantly surprised. But you are right. They have a good quarterback. He looks better this season. Their defense is a little questionable, or quite questionable, and kind of just protecting their quarterback, which that was an issue last year. It looks improved this year, but still not great, especially when you look at the weapons that Ohio State does have. I mean, that Ohio State defense is just top tier. And I understand, again, like the geography and traveling to Seattle and being in that environment, because that can be a pretty tough environment, might, cause some, maybe cause some penalties, or maybe cause some messiness at the beginning of the game. But ultimately, I think, I think, or maybe I'm just telling myself, but I think Ohio State gets it together really quickly, and they show us why they're the number 1 team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I don't have much else to add to that. I agree. And I think especially with what you were saying, Mike, on the line of scrimmage, I have not seen them prove that they can compete at that level quite yet. I also agree with you that it looks improved, but it is not up to snuff at this point, especially against this Ohio State team. They may be able to stay in it for a little while due to the fact that, they do have Damon Williams and Boston, and they can, Jonah Coleman, which they will get theirs, but I don't think they're going to be able to last 4 quarters.
Right.
They got to run the ball. They got to slow the game down. They got to limit snaps. They got to take advantage of their opportunities. They got to need to make a play on special teams, maybe on defense, force a turnover or 2. I like Washington a lot. I just think Ohio State's right now the best team in the country.
Agreed.
And that's no shade on Washington at all. But I think this one is something like Ohio State 34, Washington 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the touchdown probably comes late. Because I just don't. I really believe that Matt Patricia is doing an unbelievable job. It's crazy that they lost Jim Knowles and the defense maybe got better.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. They lost Jim Knowles and all those draft picks. And but when you recruit at a top 3 level every year, like Ohio State does, you don't rebuild, you reload.
Yeah.
Just like you do at Oregon these days, Emily. Which, by the way, I hope you really enjoyed that Big Ten title, because some of us have been waiting our whole natural lives for a Big Ten title and it hasn't happened. So I just hope that was fun for you. I hope that you're living it up. I hope that you got some like merchandise from it, like got something to put on your wall or whatever. It said we won the Big Ten, because it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
If Minnesota ever wins the Big Ten again, you'll never hear the end of it from me. Ever.
And we shouldn't. If Minnesota ever wins the Big Ten again, just remind us for the rest of our lives. Honestly.
We will.
Yeah,
I think
it's justified. Like, genuinely, like I think you should, like, just you roll that for as long as you can. Ride that wave.
Exactly. That would the stars would have to align a little bit, but you never know. At college football, crazier things have happened.
This is true.
Moving along, we have the number 11 4-0 Indiana Hoosiers going to Kinnick to Iowa City, take on the 3-1 Iowa Hawkeyes. It's a 2:30 p.m. game on Peacock. Vomit. I hate Peacock. It's the worst interface to watch games in possible. You can't fast forward or rewind in anything like an efficient manner. And how do you not have that figured out, Peacock? Your NBC, get it together. That said, line is Indiana by 7.5. John, why don't you kick us off on this one? What are your thoughts?
Look, during the preseason, we talked about this game. We talked about Illinois in Indiana, and we talked about Iowa in Indiana, and we touched on it. And, I was initially thinking like, oh man, this could be Indiana could get upset here. They've never, they don't know what it's like to get Iowa as often as we do.
Right.
And it is a thing, and I'm not saying it can't happen. But after what I saw last week, man, I don't know how Iowa's going to withstand this offense. And because especially what we've also talked about in the offseason, what we talked about this last week, as far as Iowa's secondary goes, especially their corners, they're not as good as they used to be. They're not as good as they used to be. Yeah. And I think that, if Fernando Mendoza and those wide receivers play as well as they did last week, Iowa can't do anything. They can't. And Indiana's defense. I just don't see Iowa's offense being able to score enough. I think there might be, maybe there'll be a defensive, like an interception or a fumble or something like that. Or if Indiana makes a stupid mistake and kicks it to, Caden Weegan, then sure, Iowa can get on the board, but I still don't think that it's going to be enough.
Kurt Cignetti's not going to kick to Caden Weegan.
He's
not going to do
so.
it. He's going to kick it out of the end zone, or he's going to punt it out of bounds. He is not kicking to kick. He's not an idiot. I don't know what. I still can't believe Shiano kicked to him twice.
It was
kicking to him.
Yeah,
what
right
are
off
you
the
doing?
bat. Opening play of the entire game. Yeah, it was.
Well, and then he almost returned the punt before half.
Yep.
So don't kick to him, because that's Iowa. Iowa wants to score on defense and special teams.
Yeah,
that's what they do. I will say what makes this game interesting schematically is that Indiana runs more RPO than anyone in the Big Ten. It's not close. It's their whole offense. It's one of the reasons it's so hard to sack them, because it's 1-2 pass. Like either you give it or you throw it, and you do it right now. And that makes it hard to get pressure on the quarterback, because you just don't have enough time physically to get there by the time he throws the ball. So that kind of makes it so Indiana, like their offensive line kind of looks better than they are, because they get it out so fast in pass pro. They don't have to protect for 3, 4, 5 seconds like people do in other schemes. But Phil Parker, man, PJ Fleck used to run a lot of RPO. I remember going into Iowa City with 2 NFL wide receivers. And we eventually broke out and got ours. But he knows how to play against an RPO. And he plays that zone defense where everyone's looking and everyone has their hands up. And if you're trying to throw that RPO slant, that can get tipped and intercepted. Yeah. So if Iowa's going to have any chance, that's what has to happen. They have to disrupt the RPO. They have to make Indiana do something else. Make them do something else. Make them run normal pass routes, not option routes. Make them actually have to fade back to pass and not just get it out right away and kill you in space. You have to do that to them. You have to force the issue with Indiana, or they will torch you. And we know Signetti wants to run up the score.
Well, we would be remiss if we also didn't mention, if Iowa does happen to win this game somehow, it is strictly due to the Faustian pact that Kirk Ferentz made decades ago
in the late 90s.
That's it. So
yeah. It's our belief at We Live for Saturday, Emily, that Kirk Ferentz made a deal with Lucifer, and that's why he's gotten away with having the defense and special teams as good as he has for as long as he has. Because it doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't be able to win. You shouldn't be able to win 8 to 10 games a year without an offense.
This is true. Yeah,
Iowa does that.
They do it
on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Faustian pact indeed. I think Indiana wins this like 31-20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's a 50 or 60 point thing. I think Iowa's too good a defensive team for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know offensively how good Iowa's going to be.
Yeah.
And Mikhail Kamara, man, he's real, and he's better this year even than he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Illinois couldn't even begin to block him.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't even start to do it. So, but Iowa has arguably, by Pro Football Focus grades, has the best graded offensive line in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So, theoretically, this should be a close game. But Indiana's so hot right now, I have to pick a 2-score win.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
What was your score?
Yeah, my score is I have Indiana 33, Iowa 23.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2 scores, but I think it's going to be kind of Iowa's going to figure out a way to make it look close at the end of the game and maybe put a scare into Indiana. Like all of a sudden it looks like they're coming back for whatever reason. Gronowski starts throwing dimes but it's going to be too little too late. So yeah.
Maybe Gronowski has a fever dream that he's back at South Dakota State and everything just works out for him.
Yeah.
Man, he was unstoppable at South Dakota State. He really was. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm curious to watch this game, although it's on Peacock, so that's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
That's really annoying. I don't think I knew that. That's really annoying.
I'm just glad we haven't played on Peacock this year, and we're not scheduled to at this point. So I hope that we can avoid that because it's just gross. All right, moving on to the next one. We have the 0-3 UCLA Bruins going to play the 1-2 Northwestern Wildcats. It's a 2:30 p.m. game on the Big Ten Network. The line is Northwestern by 6.5. This is the Desperation Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm dubbing it right now because if you don't win this game, you might not win another game all year.
Mm-hmm.
And if UCLA doesn't win this game, then UCLA may go over. And that's just crazy. Like that's bananas to be that bad. And it just shows that Chip Kelly stopped coaching and recruiting. And then they hired Deshaun Foster, who honestly didn't really have a chance, but was a first-time head coach who didn't know what he was doing yet.
Totally.
It's also our belief at this, Emily, at this show that usually, unless you're in Ohio State or in Oregon, you shouldn't hire a first-time head coach. You should hire a guy who knows how to do it. I think, like Ohio State or Oregon, the infrastructure kind of sustains itself. So you can hire a guy who's just like an X's and O's guy and have that work out. But at other schools, you need holistic people who can build the program from bottom to top and make it all work and make sure the players, it's all well-rounded and that you can recruit and that the players develop and that they actually like you so they don't leave in the off season all the time. You have to be able to do all of those things. And I think those are skills that Deshaun Foster just didn't have a chance to learn. So David Braun, man, David Braun loses this game. He might get fired after the game.
Yeah.
Right? Because David Braun, I think, is living on borrowed time right now as well.
Absolutely.
At 1-2. Nico versus Preston Stone. I don't even think either one of those guys is, Preston Stone's pretty bad. I don't even think Nico's that bad. I just think he doesn't have any help. He doesn't have any skill players. He doesn't have an offensive line. He's running for his life, hoping guys get open in a backyard. It's watching UCLA play? It's in when you're in 7th grade, right? And you're playing backyard football. And then you play, and then suddenly somebody's older brother friends come over, and then you're playing, and they're all in 9th or 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're playing as a bunch of 7th graders against a bunch of 9th and 10th graders.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like watching UCLA play right now.
Yeah.
It feels like they're a bunch of 7th graders trying to keep up with like high school age kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not working. I think Northwestern has a good defensive line, and I think that's the only unit on either one of these teams I feel any confidence in.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think based on that alone, I think Northwestern finds a way to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I agree. I think Northwestern finds a way to win this one, which is really unfortunate for UCLA because they could easily not win a game the rest of the season. But it is a pretty, like you said, like the Desperation Bowl. It's a pretty just like yucky matchup in terms of skill. With Northwestern's defensive line, though, I give them the edge in the fact that they don't have to travel to UCLA. So it's not like that switching time zones is going to affect them much, but that very well might affect UCLA if they stood a chance at all.
Yeah, good points.
Yeah, I think there's a problem. Obviously, there's problems absolutely everywhere when it comes to UCLA. But the fact that Nico Maliava is, obviously, he's their quarterback, but he is also, he has the most rushing yards out of anyone on the team as well. And that's a problem. That is a problem.
Yeah.
So there's literally no run game from his running backs. They're, they don't have
any receivers either.
Yeah. Quasi Gilmer has 174 yards on 16 receptions this last year.
He's okay,
game.
But like,
he's okay.
He's it.
Yeah. I trust, to be honest, man, I trust Preston Stone because he has other people around him. And so I trust him to make better decisions. It's not Nico's fault. I'm not blaming him. I just trust him to make some better decisions because he actually has some kind of support system around him to allow him some time. He's got Wildy at the receiver who's pretty good. And then I guess Komalafe was the one who ran for 150 yards on 36 carries and 1 touchdown last week. So
they seem to like him.
He's got some people around him that can actually bring some production to the table. So yeah, man, that's why
I think this is a big Griffin Wildy game.
Yeah.
I think Griffin Wildy goes off and has a game for white speed receivers everywhere for hope.
They always they have one a lot in Northwestern. I feel like that.
Oh yeah. Northwestern does. And remember when Wisconsin used to have that too sometimes? Remember Jared Aberderis? I still have bad dreams about him. He's been out of college 15 years, and I still, once in a while, in like a cold sweat, I'm like, oh God, he's going deep, and there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, it's been a long time.
Yep.
Been a long time. So yeah, I guess we were all on Northwestern here. Yeah. I wonder how many more games Nico plays this year. My prediction is that he has an injury in the next month. And he shuts it down and starts looking for where he's going to transfer to next to like have a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's feasible.
So I guess enjoy Nico while you can, but how do you enjoy it when you're losing every game, UCLA fans? It was, it's rough.
Not even sure I know of you any UCLA fans, but maybe
they come out during basketball season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, the only one I can think of is Bruin Source, but they're like us. They're a podcaster. So, like, they don't really count as a regular fan on Twitter.
Right.
They're a podcasting fan, which I feel like is a slight distinction. Awesome. All right. Let's move on to the last game already because it's a short week. A lot of teams are on bye this week.
Yep.
So we have the game of the year in the Big Ten, potentially. Game of the year, I would say. Number 6. 4-0 Oregon Ducks going to Happy Valley to take on the number 3, 3-0 Penn State Nittany Lions for the whiteout. This is a 6:30 p.m. game on NBC, as I like to call it, the Here Comes Saturday Night game. Although last week they didn't play the Here Comes Saturday Night music. So, like, get it together, NBC. Play your theme song. Why did you give Fall Out Boy all that money if you weren't going to play it as an intro? And, like, I don't understand. Just do that. And I know it's because the Notre Dame game got switched and whatever. So I think that's all that happened.
Right.
But it did annoy me still because you'll find out, Emily, we care about things like theme songs and uniforms on this podcast.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to the uniforms because that's where we have some harsh words for Oregon. but we'll get there. All right. And yeah, line is Penn State by 3.5. So, John, first of all, let's say you've been to a whiteout. I've been to a whiteout. There's nothing like it.
No.
It was so loud that I couldn't hear the thoughts inside my own head.
Okay.
It was so loud that I could feel like the loudness was like screwing with me trying to come up with normal thought patterns.
Your body vibrates, literally.
It vibrates. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. You literally are vibrating because there's 110,000 people and Beaver Stadium has good acoustics. And it's crazy.
And it's
the loudest stadium in the Big Ten.
It's a giant metal erector set. So like the stadium itself is like shaking essentially. And it's really tough, man. Like I've never in college football, I've never experienced that anywhere else.
No, I think we had 4 false starts in the first quarter when we played there because we couldn't even get the snap off without because the players can't hear.
Yeah.
So of course they're going at the wrong times. So I think that's a big deal for a first-time starter in Dante Moore. Like he's going to have to weather that storm. And there's going to be probably some pre-snap penalties. And he's going to, there's going to be some second or thirds and long that are only second or third and long because you got a false start. And he's going to have to weather that storm and find a way to play through it. I mean, so far, obviously, Dante Moore has been fantastic. He's been better than advertised even. Looks like the next great Oregon quarterback. You always have one. I'm kind of jealous. So there's that. I think here's what I said before the season. If Penn State's going to win this game, it's got to be because they take advantage of the fact that Oregon has 4 new offensive line starters. And they're still figuring that out. I know they look really good, so that's maybe grasping at straws. But if Penn State can make it hard, I would be doing a lot of stunts. I would be twisting and, doing different things in the gaps and bringing guys down and pulling them back out and seeing if you can rattle that Oregon O-line. Can you rattle them in the whiteout? So I would do that and try to shift a lot and do that kind of stuff that'll make them, jumpy and make them get those false starts. In the Big Ten title game last year, Oregon won, but Penn State ran for nearly 300 yards. So I'm curious, Emily, when we go off on this, how do you feel? Do you think the run defense for Oregon is going to be better this year?
I'm not sure if it's going to be better, but I think it'll be comparable. I know this last week raised some questions in regard to Oregon's skill set, especially like pass rush. God, say that 5 times fast. I've been having this issue all week. Pass rush defense. And, there are some question marks there. And I think what I'm excited about personally as a fan, like you guys have alluded to, Oregon's done well this season. They're 4-0, but we are going to learn a lot about this Oregon team after this game, win or lose. So whether they win or whether they lose, kind of just how Dante Moore does perform in that environment. These young players on this team like Davison and Decorian Moore, players who have done so well in these first 4 weeks, but it's like, how are you going to perform and rise to the occasion in this particular game, in this particular setting? So I'm looking forward to that, as well as defensively as well. Like this is going to be the first real challenge that Oregon has. So I think, this might just be me being optimistic in terms of win or lose, like something good can come from it because we're going to learn from it, especially with the remaining games that we have on our schedule. But I think it's going to be comparable. I haven't figured out how I feel about this game enough to feel like if I feel like Oregon's going to win or not, which is really unlike me. Like even last year, regular season, Ohio State, I had that feeling like, oh yeah, Oregon has this. It's going to be close, but like Oregon has this. And I usually have this inkling. Obviously, it's not always right. I did not think Oregon would perform like that in the Rose Bowl in January.
Nobody did.
Can be wrong. That's the game I still have nightmares about.
Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, exactly. But I have like this like neutral feeling so far of like, I have no idea like what what direction this game's going to go in. And I think it depends what Penn State we get,
Mhm.
how are they coached? How are they going to perform? Because this is also their first challenge of the season. We're going to learn a lot about this Penn State team after this game as well. Again, win or lose. And it kind of always goes back to that narrative of Penn State can't win the big games. Well, is this the one that they finally put it together? Because they have so many veteran players, especially their quarterback. And that's why they have been chosen to take the Big Ten as a conference and make it to the national championship and even possibly win the national championship. So I think this game will be really telling with all of those preseason narratives as well, in terms of like what Penn State is as a team this season and how they can perform against higher competition.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Drew Aller for a minute.
Yeah.
Because so there are two schools of thought, right? The one is that he hasn't improved. He's completing 65% of his passes, but only 7.1 yards per attempt. 626 yards passing. So he hasn't put up like Heisman caliber stats like maybe some people thought he would coming back for another year in this offense. But at the same time, Penn State, like Michigan when they won the title a couple years ago, is a run-first team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So in a run-first team, your quarterback's not always going to put up the same stats that he would in an Ohio State offense or a USC offense or an Oregon offense, right? So I don't really hate on him for that, but the yards per attempt and I expect Drew Aller with the receivers he has now to be completing like 70% of his passes.
Yeah.
And right now that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't see Penn State like going deep like they probably should more often than not. Their leading receiver for the year has 166 yards in Trevor Pena. But so like he and Hudson and Devontae Ross and Luke Reynolds at tight end, like those guys can all play. And here's what I think. You may not know this, Emily. James Franklin and PJ Fleck are best friends.
I did not know that.
Which is kind of funny, but like they're also kind of similar types in that they don't want to show anything schematically before they have to.
Yeah.
They hold back. And like I could see, like it was driving me crazy. I could see us holding back against Cal last week. I was like, we're gonna lose. Stop holding back. Like just like use our best stuff. Like put in, like do our best stuff. We have to do that right now. I know a lot of Penn State fans think that James Franklin's playing possum and that everything he's just gonna unleash it all against Oregon and open up the offense, and Drew Aller's gonna look amazing. I think that's gonna decide this game. Because I think Dante Moore might have some problems in the first quarter just because of the whiteout factor. I don't think it'll even be his fault necessarily. I just think that there's going to be some pre-snap penalties and some miscommunications. But once you'll figure out, once you get into the heart of a game, you kind of adjust to that. So totally. I think Dante Moore will adjust. I think the Oregon offense will do what they do. Who has a more dominant defensive line is another question for me. Because Oregon's got Mateo Uiagalelei and Penn State's got Denai Dennis Sutton, and they both have some guys next to them who can make plays too. So I'm really curious to see who wins in the line of scrimmage, because I think this game comes down to who wins up front and which quarterback plays with more poise.
Yeah.
I don't know, John, what do you think? I see the wheels turning, John. What are you thinking?
No, I think those are absolutely valid. I think what I need to see too, obviously Drew Aller, I think that's a great point of bringing him up and having to see him perform at a higher level. He is very accurate. He's accurate. He's never been a problem.
But we need him to throw it down the field and make it happen.
Have some explosive plays, down the field. But also what I need to see during this game is I want to see that run game, we need to see Katron Allen and Nick Singleton be able to get theirs. And I think that if Penn State is able to establish that run game and make that effective against Oregon, then I think Oregon's in trouble. I think Oregon has a really good run game as well. But this 1-2 punch with Allen and Singleton is something else, and they're terrifying when they get going. So it's, again, I think you're right, though. I think it's whoever dominates the line of scrimmage, because both have the potential to do very well at skill positions. But it's going to be who wins in the trenches. And I think it's going to be a close game. I think if Oregon can find a way to take the crowd out early, then you might be able to work some magic here. but it's going to be tough. I mean, like we said, whiteouts are a whole nother thing. I'm going to have to pick Penn State because of that, really, at this point, but not by much. I think Oregon's going to put up a fight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it could be back and forth, really up until the very end. So,
yeah, I mean, if you look at this, if you look at the line, it's only 3.5. So that means on a neutral field, Penn State would be a coin flip.
Yep. Yeah.
So the only reason Penn State's favored is because they're at home, but it is a significant home field advantage. One of the biggest in college football, arguably the biggest when you do the whiteout.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you walk in there, that's the other thing. You go in, you walk in the stadium, you're like,
yeah.
Because like everybody is, because it's so bright and like off the white, and everyone's got their freshly laundered, brand new white T-shirts they put on.
There's fireworks going on left and right all the time.
Yeah, it's like visually, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in. Look, I picked Penn State to win the national title. Well, first of all, let's go, Emily. Emily, who are you picking? What do you think?
Okay, I don't have a score prediction because I really have no idea, but I'm gonna ride with Oregon, obviously, because they're my team. So, and I genuinely do think, like what you were just saying, like a neutral field, I think it would just be like a coin flip. Like really, like they have the advantage because it is a whiteout game in Happy Valley. So if Oregon is able to adjust to that, and I understand that might take a quarter, but if they're able to adjust to that and they're able to drown out that noise, having never been in that environment before, I realize that might sound ridiculous, but if they're able to do that, I think Oregon has the skill to beat Penn State. But it'll be interesting. I'm taking Oregon to win. I don't know the score, but this is a great example of one of the super fun things, again, about being in the Big Ten is the fact that they get to experience this. And, even the fans traveling there, I'm not traveling there this week, but even the fans who get to travel there and experience, like, this is one of the iconic college football settings and games of the season. So I think like it's super exciting. It's a super exciting week and a super exciting environment.
For sure.
Yeah, and Penn State fans are really welcoming for anyone who's heading out there.
I've heard really great.
They will invite you to their tailgate. You'll be walking down the street and someone's like, beer, and just stuff like that. And then they part of it was because when we were there, I think our starting quarterback was out, so they knew they were going to run us. So, but I think they're pretty nice just in general. Like it's definitely different than going to, say, Iowa City. But yeah. So
you're not going to get beer cans thrown at you from the,
Yeah, you're not going to get
no Busch Light's going to be coming.
I'm going to Iowa this year, and I'm terrified that someone's going to throw a beer at my aging father.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the Gopher section because those Iowa fans, man, they get way too lit. They don't. There's no. I mean, we all know that going back all the way to the Metrodome incident, which Emily probably doesn't even know about, and we probably shouldn't discuss on the pod, but that was a thing. So. I want to pick Penn State really badly because I picked them to win the national title in the preseason.
Right.
Because they have everything. They have all the veterans leadership. They have all the talent in the world at all the positions and experience. They have the highest price and best pair of coordinators, arguably, in college football. But Oregon's hot right now. Oregon is hot right now. And I don't know. I'm going to pick Penn State, but like 27-24.
Yeah.
I really think it comes down to turnovers. And I think it comes down to turnovers and explosive plays in the second half. And I think whoever wins the turnover battle wins it. And I think that as good as Dante Moore has looked, I think he throws one pick. Maybe not. And it's at the wrong time when you're about to score, or it gives them a chance to score or something.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't feel good about it.
No.
I don't feel good about that pick. I would, if you were in Vegas, if I were gambling, we don't gamble, but like if we did, I'd be taking the points because I just don't have that strong a feeling.
Same.
But we don't. So I am gonna pick Penn State, but Drew Aller's got to do it, man. His whole career has led up to this game and proving that he can be, and if he wants to prove that he can be an NFL quarterback too, then he needs to show up in this game and play his best football.
Yeah.
Because Penn State either needs for psychologically, if they're going to win a national title, they need to either beat Oregon or Ohio State. They don't need to beat them both.
Right.
Just one.
But like psychologically, you need to prove to yourself. And I just think Ohio State's really far into Penn State's head at this point. I
Have
think
been
that
for years. Yeah.
have been for so many years that I think Penn State has like a psychological block that like they can't get past with Ohio State. And that's so if Penn State's going to win, they have to beat Oregon if they're going to, go on, win the Big Ten, win the Natty, any of that stuff. That said, the winner of this game should be ranked number 2 in the polls at worst. Because this would be whoever wins, it's the best win of the year.
Yeah.
Because I know Miami's looked good, but Notre Dame's lost 2 games. And who else has Miami beat? Florida's terrible. Like LSU has offensive problems. You look at the other teams in the top 5. I just think that the winner of this game deserves to be probably number 1, honestly. Because Ohio State hasn't, Washington's a decent opponent, but Ohio State, aside from Texas, hasn't played anybody that tough yet. So yeah, I think the winner of this game should be either number 1 or number 2. And the loser, and I'm going to say it, should remain in the top 10. Because if this was the SEC, that's what would happen.
This is true.
There's no way that if you have the number 6 team play the number 3 team in the SEC team or in the SEC, and it's a close game, there's no way that the loser drops any further than like 8.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. If Oregon happens to lose this, absolutely. 2 spots is the maximum, in my opinion, that they should drop. And same thing with Penn State.
And if Oregon wins, they should be number 2 in the country.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally. Yep. No, I think I'm going to give a score prediction just because, but mine's 24-21 and similar kind of thing. I think it's, maybe it's a walk-off field goal, or there's a pick at the wrong time, something like that. But it's going to be real close. It's going to be a nail biter, I think, the entire time.
Yeah, we're going to find out what the kicking game looks like. And I think, I know Penn State has a good kicking game. Emily,
ours has been solid.
Solid.
Okay.
Yeah, right on.
Cool.
That's exciting. All right. Well, folks, that's all the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Emily, once again, please plug your stuff. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter or X and on Instagram.
We call it Twitter here. We don't call it X on this show.
Twitter. I still call it Twitter, but like
always.
Sometimes people come at me with X.
No,
so I'm like, are we?
I don't have any respect for Elon Musk. I'm not going to call it X. I'm not going to do it.
Twitter and Instagram at Emily E. Taylor 23, and then on Total Coverage Sports, which you can look up on YouTube, you'll find my Big Ten segment there.
Amazing. Awesome. Cool.
Well,
thank you so much for joining us.
Too. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. This was so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been awesome. And for everybody out there, John, any other last thoughts before we get out of here?
As always, if you want to find We Live for Saturday, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Podcast Addict. You can find us on Twitter at We Live for B1G Sat. You can find Mike at Alibaba26, me, John, at Norwegian Gopher, and you can email us, We Live for Saturday, B1G@gmail.com.
And just remember, we'll try to have the review pod out on Sunday again. I know that's better for everyone. We get more views that way. So we'll try to start putting those out on Sundays when we can. And we appreciate all of you watching. And just think, it's a win-win. Because if Minnesota wins, we're going to be full of energy and piss and vinegar and feeling great. And if Minnesota loses, you can come watch us self-destruct in real time because the season is over.
Yep.
So get excited, everybody. Either way, the podcast is going to be intense. So have a good time with that. If you are still listening 63 minutes into this, you are my hero. Appreciate all of you. I will see you, and I'll see some of you on Saturday at the Gopher game.
I'll be there.
John will be there, so feel free to come up and say hi to us. I know, Emily, we have people who now come to games and are like, I watch your podcast. And it's like, makes us feel really good.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to do that, we do appreciate all of you who do that. Makes us feel good about it. Glad you're enjoying it. And we will see you all in the next one. And, good luck to Oregon this weekend. Since I don't have a dog in that fight, I will be watching that as a very, very tense observer. Like, that's the thing. That's how you know it's a big game. If, even if your team's not playing, you're still kind of on the edge of your seat. Like, you find yourself, you're white knuckling and you're like, oh, why am I nervous? It doesn't matter who wins, but it does in the moment because you just want to see it, how it plays out. So
absolutely.
Thanks, everybody. And we will see you in the next one.